new card.
It looks that way, yeah. It looks like Ivan's decided that that's the only card that he may need.
Okay, all right. So Ivan opting to just go with Sail to improve the consistency there, not needing to dip into any other new cards. And as far as Brennan, his list is a little more spicy. He's playing, looks like 4 copies of the new Lilo, so be able to get those back from the discard pile, which is very nice. We also playing 4 copies of Calhoun. We've already seen a little bit of Calhoun earlier in the day, and she has been a very good card so far at being able to go ahead and attack into your opponent and gain that lore. And then also, very notable, 4 copies of Pluto. I know you guys just ended up watching a blue-red matchup versus Steel Song, and we saw Pluto do some work in that matchup.
Yep.
So Pluto really finding a home in these Amber Steel decks so far. A lot of the players opting to play them over Chen Pao, which is a really, really cool inclusion, making him a 5/5 bodyguard the turn that he's played, and very much a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I mean he can still sing a lot of the great songs in the deck that exist there. So yeah, it's been interesting. That's been one that we've seen do some significant amount of traction with the decks that they've been in. So
perfect. Something else worth noting in DeCandio's deck, he's actually playing Seven Dwarves Mine, which I know a lot of players have been really experimenting with that card. When you move a character to the mine, you can deal 1 damage, but if it is a knight, you can deal 2 damage, which just happens to line up pretty well into Diablos and such, and we will see how it treats Brennan today.
Yeah.
So we're getting started here, and go ahead and send out a Cinderella. And looks like Ivan's starting off with the typical popsicle play.
The blue classic, Tipatomato. I can't even speak right now. I'm so excited. Ink a Tamatoa. And play a popsicle, which is a pretty common play line for turn 1 for blue.
Thought you were the rap god.
I am the rap god. Don't you forget it.
All right, and there is Calhoun, as we mentioned a little earlier. Brennan turns it around just in case you need to read it. No need. Ivan's like, I know what it does. Yes. We're good. And really enjoying Calhoun so far, giving us, a Robin Hood effect, essentially squeezed into a 2-costed character, which is really, really powerful and really hard to deal with. So we do see that Ivan does play Fire the Cannons. Unfortunately, Calhoun does not, get taken down by Fire the Cannons due to the resist. So very strong play here from Brennan.
Yeah, and establishing a board early, doing what he can to just keep some bodies on the board.
Yeah, and there is a cannon.
There's a cannon which does get rid of the Cinderella, so singing is not going to be as easy as Brennan was hoping for.
Sure. Obviously, he's happy to take care of that Cindy. Probably would have been happier to knock out that Calhoun, but not being able to do so, Calhoun goes ahead and quests in for 1. And let's see what else Brennan's going to do here with his turn. He does have quite a lot of options. Brennan's deck is very kind of low to the ground. No whole new worlds in this build. So he's not playing the traditional aerial sing-song version. This is a little more grounded, low to the ground, and I'm interested to see how it fares up against Blue Steel.
Yeah. And we're seeing a Fishbone Quill being played on turn 3 for Ivan. Just getting that ramp strategy off the ground, just trying to get over on that piece of the puzzle. How do I get over on my opponent? And that is, I need to get more ink than you. And Ivan is doing that right now.
Sure. It's just an ink pass there for Ivan, and Brennan is going to take advantage of that. He's going to sing a little song and deal damage to himself, just to go ahead and cycle through, draw that extra card. So, bingo. Yeah, we have the long hair, don't care, coming down to clean up and getting us 2 more cards here as Brennan quests up to 3 lore.
Absolutely, yeah, great strategy. Deal some damage, heal some damage.
Yeah, we're not playing any wheels, as we mentioned, no whole new worlds, so being able to just go ahead and recycle these cards and then draw cards off for Rapunzel, very, very beneficial for Brennan here.
All right, and we see a Cogsworth at the table, which has created some interesting mapping and math for other games that we've seen today so far.
Yeah,
we'll see how this impacts the game tonight or today as we're going through this.
Absolutely, definitely a card steal players don't want to run into. Cogsworth can definitely cause some issues with his ward and his ability to provide resist to the rest of the board. However, right now the Cogsworth stands alone. So we will see, if we're able to advance on that. And Brennan just dumping the hand here.
Yep.
He says, here, deal with all this stuff as we add a Calhoun and a Lilo to the board and decide to quest out for a whopping 5 more lore here.
Yep, and I've been opting to play a Hiram on this turn to try to get some more cards in his hand. Probably hoping to do some dumping onto the table of his own.
Yeah.
But right now, Brennan is winning the race of characters, of glimmers hitting the table.
Looks like he did find a Fire the Cannons, which does line up nicely into that Lilo. However, everything else just still quests for so much, and we will see him instead choose to play the Fortisphere, drawing a card, and then with that last ink, I would imagine he's going to Cannons the Lilo, but we shall see. Maybe I am mistaken. We still have a lot of lore coming in on Brennan's side. Even if we do manage to clear this Lilo, it's going to be quite troublesome. Yeah, and there goes
Yeah,
the
there it
Lilo.
goes.
Yeah, perfect.
But yeah, it had to be. It had to be that one. Hopefully, there's other answers. I do see a Tamatoa, an Ariel, and a Pete in Ivan's hand. So, in terms of answers to bodies on the board right now, not so many. But Ivan is hoping to create a scenario where he is more of a problem than Brennan is for him.
What's interesting here is normally I would say like the characters that Amber Steel plays are pretty susceptible to Blue Steel, like in terms of the way that they line up. However, clearly, you know, we have two characters with resist. Oh my god, another Rapunzel to just keep this Lawrence nice and healthy and well fed here. And Brennan is just running along here. He's got so many cards in hand and plays down the mine just to add a little bit something extra. Usually, you know, you would be kind of scared to be playing into this Blue Steel matchup if you're Brennan, but Brennan's character, surprisingly, you know, Rapunzel has 5 health, Lawrence has 4 health, these two Calhouns have resist, so surprisingly resilient against this Blue Steel list, which is cool to see.
It is, yeah, and I mean, it looks like we've got check on the board right now. You've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 21 lore on the table right now on Brennan's side. Yeah, and
we're packing it up.
Ivan agrees. Ivan does the math and says, let's just move on to game 2.
Because you really don't have a lot of characters you can deal damage with. It is still a location with 6 HP that is able to just sit there and clock lore every single turn. That can sometimes be difficult for some of these Blue Steel decks to deal with when you only have Hirams and Tipos and things. So I think, you know, a lot of live cards here for Brennan.
Yep.
And let's see if it goes Ivan's way for this game 2 here.
Yeah, and there's that Steel Popsicle we talked about earlier. The Fortisphere is down, a card draw, dig 1 into the deck, and we're going to see what Brennan does with it.
Absolutely. All right, and Brennan goes ahead and runs out a happy, most likely a nod to the Diablo metagame that we are currently experiencing, which hasn't been the case today. So that's, you know, very interesting to see. I don't know if people were worried about bringing Diablo or people just wanted to play something different, but although we have seen some Emerald Steel decks out on the floor, none quite have made their way to the feature match quite yet, which I know some may be singing the praises of not having Green Steel all day on the stream. So we're looking out for you as well, but happy going ahead and questing it for 1. And happy also a dwarf, which works well with the dwarven mine that we were mentioning earlier as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If Brennan can get the mine down and start pinging some damage, that Chicha would not like that. So I'm sure that's something that Ivan is not excited to see happen. Okay. But instead, what we see is a Calhoun come down.
Okay, Calhoun very good at knocking out a lot of these threats here, and we'll see if Blue Steel is able to choose to ramp here, or if they're going to play more characters to the board. Looks like they currently have a Visions of the Future in hand. I'm not sure if we want to take a turn off to dig for something there, but we do have some options here in terms of what we're doing.
Yeah, we're still in a very sensitive state of the game. I think taking the turn off is probably not the best idea at this point.
Absolutely.
But instead, choosing to develop a Fishbone Quill, start the ramping, thing, do the thing that your deck does better than other things is probably a good place to be.
Absolutely. And Brennan reminding him you do get to draw that extra card from Chicha, very important. That is what she's there to do.
Yeah.
And we'll draw some more cards with Popsicle. So drew a few cards this turn.
Yeah,
and just got some extra ink.
All right, I've been taking a look to see where he lands now with the hand, and
Brennan's still holding a grip full of cards here, considering that he has only inked twice. So we will see now as we go into his turn 3 if he's able to just add more pressure to the board, or how he decides to play this out.
Yeah, Brennan's deck is constructed in such a way that he very easily could, starting on this turn, just drop 2-3 cards if he really wanted to.
Sure.
Certainly, it might not be the best idea to just go empty in your hand, but you do so strategically, and it looks like Brennan's choosing to do that here with a Smee and a Daisy Duck hitting the table alongside that Calhoun, and happy that he's already got down.
Sure. So yeah, we see, just like you said, Brennan, choosing to load up here a bit. I mean, I think that's what his deck's designed to do. So we're gonna go ahead and just spray and pray, if you will, just throw everybody out there and hope that that we're able to get them to stick. And right now, it does look like they are most likely going to stick. Interesting interaction. Chicha does provide support. Not sure that you'd want to, use that support for the future, maybe trying to take out one of these threats. But as of right now, unable to do so since we just played the Hiram. And we will keep digging and digging with some more of these Fortispheres.
Card advantage is important. We see it time and time again in this game, and Ivan understands that. That's why we keep seeing these popsicles and Hirams. It's an important piece of the strategy. The Chicha,
Agreed.
Acting in a way that gets him additional cards. So, if you want to beat out an aggro strategy, you got to have more cards to do it.
Sure, but at the same sentiment. But also, no matter how many cards are in your hand, if you're dead, you're dead. So
that's a fair point.
Brennan deciding, you can have all those cards, but can you clear these threats fast enough before I can get to 20?
Exactly.
It's going to be an interesting one here.
Yeah, which if you didn't know is the point of the game.
Yeah,
Skinner, is to get to 20 points.
I just learned that this morning, actually. So here we are, and they hired me for the job.
Good, congratulations.
That's all I needed to know.
That's more than what I know. So here we are.
All right. Well, then we're perfect match. All right. So we see Ivan holding that Fire the Cannons up at the front of the hand there. I'm not sure if he's debating on maybe sending it off. It does end up passing the turn back to Brennan. He really didn't have a good target for that. Considering Calhoun doesn't die. Smee still sticks around. Daisy still sticks around. So as I mentioned, these 2 damage spells for steel, these actions and these songs, they just do not line up very well.
They don't.
Into the threats that Brennan is presenting here, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny because as we mentioned, traditionally that's what you want to do against aggro, and so suddenly it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah,
so
I think that's every aggro player's dream, is to build an aggro deck that doesn't lose to removal, and in terms of right now, it looks like Brennan's pretty good position.
Yeah,
and chooses to move in the Smee and send away that Chicha.
Yes, say goodbye to Chicha. That was a good move. That stopped the card advantage. And so, we're taking a look at a board on Brennan's side that is scary, if I can say so myself.
Yeah, and I love that he chose to throw the Smee in there instead of choosing to just throw the Dwarf in there. I know many people would just immediately want to throw the Knight in there.
Yeah.
But Brennan recognizing that right now he only needs 1 damage. He didn't need the 2.
Correct.
So saving the Dwarf for a possible 2 damage on something different next turn. Really high level play there from Brennan, knowing which he could put in there.
Yeah, there is such a thing as overpaying, right? And Brennan knew that. You're 100% right on that. You pay for what you need, and you get what you pay for when you need it at the moment. So,
love that.
Taking a look at Ivan's side of the board here, we see that there is a lot of cards in his hand.
Oh yeah, a lot of ink, a lot of cards, and that tends to be the MO for this kind of deck. Okay, we do see the swords that we discussed earlier coming down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not taking out as much stuff as I'm sure that Ivan would like, especially when he had to pay the full 5 for it.
Yeah.
But
did not cheat that out at all.
No, but we did manage to take a couple things off the board, which I'm sure Ivan is happy about. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you're in a rough spot where you're at, but at the same time, you do what you can. So we've got an ink of a vision to play a vision, which is a pretty common tactic. I've seen that, and there are some additional.
Okay.
Oh, there's a sword in there.
I've been looking into the future here and seeing. Look, the future looks promising so far. He is going to go ahead and grab that. Grab that sword, if you will.
Yeah. So to speak.
And he will add it to his hand and hopefully be able to set Brennan back a little bit on the next turn when he can actually play it.
Yeah, Ivan's just trying to restabilize at this point. Like, he's just looking for a footing, trying to get his foot in the ground, trying to understand where his tempo is at this point.
Sure.
And right now it looks like it's in getting cards to hand.
Right.
So hopefully that translates into something for him. Right now, we've got one more lore on Brennan's side because of that location.
And I'm sure Ivan is praying that the Rapunzel does not show up at any point here, because leaving damage on Brennan's characters. Very dangerous scenario here.
Yeah, and I don't think I see a Rapunzel in
No, I see a
Brennan's hand. I see a Piglet.
Piglet.
It looks like a Cinderella, like the smaller singer Cinderella.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I see a Rapunzel.
No, I don't think. I think he would have definitely drawn the cards first if he.
I would have slammed that card down.
But still pretty scary to leave damage presented on top of your
Yeah.
your characters like that, just because you can be punished big time.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ivan doesn't know that, right? We know that. Ivan doesn't know that.
Oh no, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, he saw the Rapunzel's last game. He knows he knows how this goes. So
yeah,
he's definitely taking a gamble with having to leave the damage there, but it's working out this time.
Yeah.
As Brennan quests up to 13 lore, only 7 from the finish line here, and Ivan's still sitting at 1.
Yep. I learned a long time ago, Skinner. It's better to be lucky than good. So
it's if you're both, then
yeah, it's even better if you're both. But we see a Lilo and the new Lilo, by the way, hit the table, as well as Piglet, a classic from a few sets ago. Little Pooh Piglet, Pirate Pooh Piglet.
Okay, so some resilient threats here yet again. Lilo going to be able to keep coming back every turn if Brennan desires, and in the meantime, she is a 2 lore quester, and another effective threat here. That is, again, hard to deal with. You get rid of her, and she just comes right back.
Yep.
So Brennan down to 1 card in hand, though. So the majority of his gas is on the table. It's going to be interesting to see if Ivan is able to stabilize here at any point. Obviously, we know that he got that second sword back, which is going to be huge here. But will it be enough?
Yep. And it looks like opting to play Cogsworth. We're inking the Hiram with a fishbone still on the table to ink 1 more.
Sure.
Choosing to do so.
And here comes
the
big shebang.
Yep, here comes the big thing, the big reveal here.
So 1 sword is good, 2 sword better. And Brennan having to send all his dudes into the bad place.
Yep.
And Brennan with 1 card left in hand. His location's still ticking. So, I mean, that's still standing tall there, and Ivan does not have enough damage to take it out next turn, so that will keep ticking for the time being. However, Brennan now with only 2 cards in hand, and it looks like he's choosing to ink 1 of the 2. Yep. So let's see what he's got in store.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Brennan's able to recover from this. You know, he did what aggro does, right? He ran ahead at the very beginning of the game, got the lore that he was hoping to get. Can Brennan recover? Can Brennan get back the tempo that he just lost? Can he restabilize? Or does Ivan have a chance now to run away with it? That'll be interesting to see.
Pluto, which is a nice big 5/5, unfortunately does not quest for 2. I think that would be a little absurd if he did, but because of that, not quite a lot of pressure here, but still a 5/5 if Cogsworth does decide to get a little too crazy. Pluto can come in, but we do see Ivan able to stifle that Pluto with a fire the cannons in hand. So if he really wanted to, he could just shrink him down.
Yeah,
but it looks like he's going to just go ahead and draw some cards, which I think that's a great idea.
I would agree. And just to confirm, if my math is right, it looks like Brennan opted not to ink that last turn. He still has a card in hand.
Yep, he did decide just to play out the Pluto. That's correct. And now we have Tinkerbell as well, which also slims down that. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yep. Dealing the damage to the Pluto, which turns off that that ability of that +4 attack.
Yeah. We kick the dog per se, and
holy moly.
and he is not as strong as he once was.
No.
So he is down to a 1/5, still a bodyguard. So really cool that he's able to protect other characters if need be. Do remember Brennan can bring back that Lilo if he so desires next turn. However, in the face of a Tinkerbell, maybe not the best opportunity for Lilo to shine.
Yeah, Lilo right now is probably wanting to stay over there in the sea where she's swimming in.
She's still in the pool there in the sea wherever she's at. So, and we see Ivan, playing the aggressor here, and dumping down a Pete and a Smee.
And was that the last of his hand that he just dumped on the table?
No, he still has 1 card, I believe, on the very end there on the left.
All right.
If I'm not mistaken. And he's thinking about it. He says, "All right, I gotta start doing something to that mine."
Yep.
So he puts 2 damage into it and passes it back to Brennan. Brennan opting not to activate the Lilo's effect. he will move, and he will move to the scoop phase. All right.
Yeah.
So
Brennan seeing, even though he's way ahead, seeing the writings on the wall, not opting to waste any more time. Because as we mentioned, time is an enemy here too.
Looks like we are resolving our mulligans here, as Ivan does a little bit of a back and forth, deciding, what's the play here? What are we keeping? Right now, it looks like pretty good curve. He's got, his broom on 2 or his Chicha on 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Gabe, when you mulligan, are you a put your cards face down kind of guy, or are you a draw one at a time kind of guy?
No. So I've mentioned earlier that looking at your cards when you're not supposed to, in my opinion, is bad luck. So if I'm mulliganing, I do not look at the cards until it's time to start the game. They stay face down. Okay. It is bad luck.
Me too.
Yeah.
I get the wanting to see them right away thing, but I personally put them face down.
Listen, turn 1, you know what you're doing. You're inking a card, and you're playing a card that has the number 1 on the top left, all right? Everything else you can figure out as you're getting there.
Sure. I like it. And Brennan's starting off with the dream scenario here, which is a 1-drop Daisy.
Yep, and we're doing the blue steel special here of ink a card, play a popsicle.
Okay, Ivan choosing to ink that 2-drop broom since it won't do much in this matchup, and he would much rather have the Chicha.
All right, and reveal a fishbone quill for that Daisy trigger, so that goes to the bottom.
I'm sure Brennan happy to see that.
Yep.
As he gains 2 lore with Daisy. And
Ivan's going to have to figure out real early about the stabilization. We see the Chicha in hand. Is that something that comes down now? Is that something that waits? I guess we'll find out as we move forward here. I'm trying to take a look to see the rest of Ivan's hand, to see if we see a Smee or any other things that can come down next turn.
Yeah, Brennan putting down a Cinderella into a Smee.
Yep.
And so now we've got 4 lore on board. So a lot of pressure coming in towards Ivan if he's not able to come up with a quick resolution here.
Yeah, and the game changes really, really quick when you're dealing with aggro. You go from having 0 lore to 2 to 4. It becomes the growth is nuclear and it's exponential.
Absolutely.
And so we do see a Smee in Ivan's hand. He's considering, and he's opted to put it down, and he's playing it. Yeah, Smee comes down.
Yeah, I like Smee. Obviously, probably one of the best things you can do on turn 2. Got a 3/3 body there. But unfortunately, Brennan will get to quests for 4 before Smee is able to bumble his way into anything. So we'll see what else Brennan adds to the table this turn. Whether he's going to opt for a 3-drop on curve or maybe a mix of a 2-drop and a 1-drop. But first, he wants to see Daisy, who sends another Fishbone Quill to the bottom.
That is crazy. 2 strikes on that Daisy.
And I love that he opts to play the Pete here. Just shutting down any kind of shenanigans, any kind of bonus, fire the cannons or, sail the Azurite Sea, any of that stuff.
Yeah, no visions.
No visions, yeah. So, a lot of little things that Pete shuts down here, even though it's not like a huge turn where he would need to, worry about shutting down a whole new world or something. Yeah,
you have to wonder if it is really the right play at this point. I mean, even if you were to play Fire the Cannon, it would take out the Smee. Mm-hmm. But is it worth taking a turn off to not put a body down if you have the option to put the body down?
Sure.
There's certain questions you got to ask yourself. But, it's Pete is a decision maker, meaning you don't get to choose. Pete chooses what happens for you next turn.
Sure. And you have to wonder if Brennan is wondering if Ivan is playing Whole New World in his deck, since he is not.
Yeah.
I mean, he did see him ink one of these 7-drop Simbas earlier, and there it is again, which usually is a clear indicator that maybe we're not on the wheel deck. But still worth noting that, Brennan choosing to play the Pete a little early, pretty much having confidence that there's nothing crazy coming. And we draw some more cards for Ivan. Nothing to join the Smee, unfortunately.
Yeah, Smee is real lonely out there, and that is exactly what Brennan wants. Brennan wants there to be... Brennan wants the control of how many bodies are on the board. Brennan wants to be winning that game. That puts Brennan in the best spot here, and thinking about that, Ivan knows that. So Ivan is saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use this body the best way I can, and maybe it's just to put some damage on him. However, we know that Brennan loves damage, especially going into a turn with 4 ink. Because that might mean...
That's a dangerous predicament for Ivan to be choosing to put 3 damage on Daisy. That's...
Yeah.
I mean, I get where he's going with that, It's unfortunate that even though he has that Fire the Cannons, it was not able to send it off due to Pete.
And there she is.
And here comes Long Hair Don't Care.
She is here.
Miss Rapunzel. And that is...
Yeah.
That is a That is a blowout.
That may have marked the end of Ivan's game, but we'll see if that's the case or not.
That is technically a feels bad for Ivan.
Yeah, he's got to be thinking, "What a mistake I made." At this point, what are you supposed to do?
I mean, he did the best he could. He did try to take out that daisy, but yeah, when you load 3 damage onto a something right before turn 4, it is it's unfortunate, but all right, we go ahead and dig 2 more cards, but let me see. Brennan has 2, 4, 6, 7 lore on the swing back here, putting him up to 14 next turn, which is very awfully close to the end of the game there.
Yeah, it is. That's a 2-turn clock essentially, with no answers to what Brennan's got on the board.
Absolutely. So Ivan trying to figure a way out here. It doesn't look like he has anything super significant that he can do for this turn that will help the situation. He does go ahead and ink a Fortisphere and puts out a Develop. And Develop reveals Pete and Simba.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what the choice is here.
I think Simba just a bit too slow, although it does do damage to stuff. Just like I said, 2 damage is just not going to cut it.
I didn't catch what he brought back.
I think he grabbed
the Simba. Yeah, okay.
So and then there's the Daisy to finish. There's the Fire to finish off Daisy.
Yep.
Which he was not able to do last turn due to the Pete's, which was a great play there from Brennan, knowing that he would need both a creature and a spell in order to kill off the Daisy, and I'm choosing to shut that off for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now Brennan in the driver's seat with 5 lore in play, and going up to 5 ink this turn if he so chooses.
And he chooses.
So he goes to 12, which is just ticking up the board there. And there we go. We have Lawrence and a location. So just lots of 2 lore clusters and an item. A location just to boot.
Absolutely.
A little bit extra.
And the board state is very precarious for Ivan, not liking what he's seeing here. You've got 1 body, 1 item on Ivan's side that does 1 damage, and you've got a lot of lore waiting for you every time you say go. So this is not a good spot for Ivan. Looking at the hand, we see he's got to grab your sword, which would be enough to get rid of 1 character on the other side.
That's the thing, even if you play a grab your sword, is that enough?
It's not. It's not. Yeah, you're delaying the clock by 1.
And you're passing your turn almost. I mean, you're spending your whole turn doing that. You're doing what a Fire the Cannons would do as well. What you're doing for 5 ink.
Exactly.
So not exactly the best scenario here.
No, it's not. Yeah, Ivan's hand is definitely not.
Even
Fantastic.
if he ramps up, he doesn't look like. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to play it out.
Yeah, he's put in a position where he feels forced to do that. Of course.
It's that or lose. So I guess that's the best play we can make here. But doesn't feel good to be in this predicament for Ivan.
No, it doesn't. And so he's got 2 left. You see a Mr. Smee. I see Popsicle in the hand, potentially digging for more solutions, try to get to a spot where he can address or solve for what's happening here.
Absolutely. Popsicle coming down and getting an extra card in. And Ivan looking over his last possible place here.
Yep.
Playing down that Smee, which is good pressure into DeCandio's board, but DeCandio going up to 13 now. And
he'll be at 19 if he chooses to quest with everybody.
We'll go to 18.
My apologies. I missed that episode of Sesame Street.
Yeah, it's okay. Pete, Pete looks like he quests for 2. He's a big guy, but no, he only quests for 1. And oh my goodness!
Wow. Yeah, that's 3 more. That's 2 more cards to the hand.
I feel like we're back in set 1, and we are just chaining Rapunzels. And once you start chaining Rapunzels, man, it is bad news bears for your opponent.
It is. Yeah, it's really downhill from here for Ivan.
We squeeze in for 5 more.
Yep. To push to the 8, we go to 18.
And we have just so many ways to win the game here if you're Brennan. So it's going to be a little scary for Ivan as we pass it back. Another Smee.
Yep.
Just to seal the deal here.
Yeah, in case you do get rid of one of those characters, there's a second one waiting in the wings to just tap for 2.
Ivan taking a gander as he draws 2 more cards off the Hiram. Trying to see if he could find anything here to pull him out of this. But unfortunately, I don't see it.
I don't either.
He's going to take a look just in case. And the fist bump comes along, and we are wrapped up with Brennan DeCandio taking it 2-1 over Ivan Wong. Really great matchup and really good showing for Brennan's deck. As we mentioned,